Good evening, night listener. You're tuned into Sleeping with Heather, the podcast that puts you to sleep. I'll be with you for an hour and a half, so there's no need to rush. Fall asleep on your time. Just close your eyes, lay back, relax, and get ready to dream.
Hi. Yeah, just call me when you get a chance. I'll be, doing some things here and there between now and 2, but I'm free after 2 o'clock too, so. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Hi, it's Heather, the host of this podcast. You just heard a voice message from one of my dearest friends, Ulises. We share the same birthday, February 25th. We're Pisces. Pisces are said to be wise, compassionate, artistic, gentle, intuitive, and musical. You know who else shares our birthday? George Harrison of the Beatles. He was known as the quiet, spiritual Beatle, an old soul, if you will. I mean, come on. He was into classical Indian music and learned the sitar. He wrote, "All things must pass," and my sweet Lord. Hey, what did the doctors say to his mother when she was in labor? Here comes the sun. Get it? I wrote that joke myself. You're welcome. I love listening to old voicemails. I keep them around for posterity. My answering machine is a vocal scrapbook of sorts. Shall we listen to another?
Hola, Heather. ¿Cómo estás? This is Raúl Esteban. We were supposed to get lunch together about 20 minutes ago, so I thought I would call. Do you like tacos? I love tacos, and wish I could even be paid with tacos. Green lettuce, juicy tomatoes, and oozing cheddar cheese. Ouchie wawa. I can practically taste the sizzling hot and delicioso Texas fajitas right now. So what are you waiting for? Fly away with me, my little cachina, and let's stuff our caras y vientres with chips and queso. Waiting for you, Raúl.
Hey Heather, this is Kevin. Okay. Oh, from the 3rd grade. I don't know if you remember me. I sat kind of back in the corner of the pencil sharpener. Kind of had a nose picking problem back then. But the point is, I was watching you do those math tables and the multiplication stuff, and I don't know how to say this, but I fell in love with you, and I can't stop thinking about you ever since. So just wondering, if you'd want to maybe get married and live happily ever after. Something to do, I just want you to know what I'm offering. Chick-fil-A every night for dinner. Slightly above average in the bedroom, if you know what I mean. And lots of sweet kisses. Yep. Anyway, let me know. Get back. This offer doesn't last forever. Okay, take care. Bye.
This voicemail has been deleted.
Whoops. Alright, obviously I haven't gone through these in some time.
Hi, Heather. This is Klaus. We haven't talked since yesterday. I miss you. Call me. Ciao.
Oh, hey, Heather, it's Alan. I was wondering if I could borrow your duck call this weekend. I'm headed to a lake and I was hoping to pick up some chicks. Get it? Okay, technically they're ducks. I tried. Anyway, holler at me when you have a minute. Maybe we can grab some margaritas, next weekend. Anyway, thanks, bye.
Hi, Heather. It's Jody. I just got back from my high school reunion. I wore my leopard print skirt and my leopard print mask. I get there? Guess what? They're not wearing masks anymore. It matches the skirt. It completes the look. It's an ensemble. I rock the look. What am I supposed to do? We're not wearing masks anymore. What am I supposed to do with all these masks? My sister says to me, do what I do. You know what I do? I turn them all into thongs. My husband says, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. I says to him, you know what? It's 2021. Live your life.
Hi, this message is for Heather Arrington. Heather, this is Ted Booplesnoot from Booplesnoot Industries. I just wanted to call you and let you know that after reviewing all of the job interviews, we would like to offer you the full-time position. Guaranteed overtime with over 40 hours a week, 2 weeks paid vacation, a 401k, health benefits for you and your family if desired, your own parking spot, and your very own office. All waiting here just for you if you accept the position. Get back to me soon and welcome aboard.
Hey, Heather, this is Chris. I got your voicemail, and I got to tell you, I think you should take the job. I think the porn industry has changed a lot, and I think they need your voice. They need your voice over work. Those girls just don't know how to fake it, and I think the world needs to hear your fake orgasms. Anyway, talk to you later. Let me know what you plan to do.
Oh, hold up a sec, man. Woman, who that number? No, someone named Heather. Now, you done made me call the wrong number, woman.
Hey Heather, this is Bill, and I was calling to see if you could possibly return my stapler. I feel like at some point in time that you probably accidentally picked it up in our relationship. I really enjoy my stapler. It's a Swingline 7550, metallic gray, holds about 30 staples. If you could return that, that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks again.
Ah, Bill. Wonder what he's been up to lately. I should give him a call back after I find his stapler.
Hello, Heather. This is Morgan Freeman. Just returning your call. Give me a call back, and I'll talk to you then.
Hey, it's Trevor. So, today we showed up for the first day of driver's ed, and nobody is there. So we're driving around trying to find where they're at. And suddenly we see a car with a student driver sign on top, leaving the high school. So naturally, I follow them like a sociopath and catch them at a light. It was a different driving school. We went back to the high school, and her driving school was there now. What wacky adventures did you get into today?
Hey, Heather, it's Dallas. How you doing? Hopefully well. Seems like in your voice message that you had a hard time finding the end button when you were recording that. Not my business, just kind of putting it out there. Anyways, so today, Jenny and I went to Atlantic Beach. Left early this morning because, there was traffic out crazy because of Memorial Day, Anyway, so I got burnt on my face, right? Yeah, face burnt. And Jenny and I are laying in bed, and I tell her that I got a burnt face. And what did she say? What did you say, Jenny?
I'm going to lotion you later tomorrow.
Yeah, in a matter of speaking, that's what she said. It wasn't like, oh, you want me to put lotion on you right now? No, it was, would you like me to put lotion on you? Pause. Later? Pause. Tomorrow? Anyways, I hope you're doing well. It's been a while and we need to catch up. sooner than later. Hopefully you have a great Memorial Day weekend. Talk to you later.
Hey Heather, remember how I told you I've always wanted to see a black bear in its natural habitat and to be able to take photographs? Well, guess what? It finally happened. So when I was in Kate's Cove and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, I finally saw a black bear. And not only a black bear, I saw a mama bear with 2 cubs. It was amazing. I was hiking down the Abrams Falls Trail and I heard something in the bushes, and I happened to look over and I see a mama bear peek her nose out, and then I saw the little cubs underneath her in the pricker bush area. So I just stood where I was, gave them wide range of space, took out my camera, and snap, 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 I just started snapping away. They weren't too curious in me, which obviously was a good thing. They kind of sniffed the air, sniffed the flowers, sniffed the bushes all around them. The babies, we were tumbling around playing. And then they went on their merry way, and I got a ton of pictures. So now I'm on my way home. I can't wait to get back to my computer and load all my pictures, but I had to tell somebody, and I knew you would be so excited for me because you love nature and wildlife and nature photography and everything as much as I do, and I know you would be so happy. So as soon as I get these photos loaded and edited, I'll send them to you and see what you think, and I'll add them to my collection, and it's amazing. I'm just so happy. So thank you for listening to my great news, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Hey Heather, this is your friend Joe, the one who juggles. Wanted to let you know that I haven't been juggling a lot lately. However, I have been getting gradually more and more obsessed with optics and photography, and specifically astrophotography. So apparently you can get a Celestron brand pair of binoculars that are like 10x by 50. The 10 is the magnification, the 50 is the diameter of the objective lens in millimeters. And what that'll do is help you get photos of the stars. You can actually mount your smartphone to it. Thing is, you can't take a 1-minute exposure or a 2-minute exposure at that magnification level because you get streaks across the sky. So you have to get a special app on your phone that lets you take 1-second bursts repeatedly for as long as you want, or as long as the stars are in the field of your view. Anyway, then you go and you put them in a special program called Star Stacker, and the Star Stacker will trace it will follow the stars across the sky and stack them all on top of each other and get rid of all the noise, and you come out with these really clear, beautiful photos of stars that look like they were taken with a telescope. Bonus, you can carry the binoculars with you when you go on hikes so that you can just see the beautiful nature all around you. All right, hope you're having a good day. Bye-bye.
You know what else I enjoy going through besides old voicemails? Old diary entries. I started keeping a diary in 7th grade. I think I stopped writing shortly after high school. The word diary seems so antiquated. I guess the cool kids would call it journaling. Anyway, I found this gem of an entry from December 31st, 1999. For those of you old enough to remember, the world was in hysterics over Y2K. When computer programs were written in the 1960s, engineers used 2 digits for the year, leaving out 19. As the millennium approached, many believed this short-sighted design would cause major glitches within our technical infrastructure. It was thought that systems would not recognize the 00, and impending apocalyptic martial law would ensue. My parents bought their first cell phone, a generator, and stocked the pantry with non-perishables. It was an exciting time. I guess by now you know nothing happened. Dear Diary, a lot has happened. Steve Mazikowicz and I don't email each other anymore, but I spoke to him on ICQ a few days ago. We had what I would consider a very good conversation. I told him all about Steve Rosner, and I think I sensed a tinge of jealousy. Steve Rosner is the sweetest guy. He calls me long distance more than anyone ever has. He really likes me. I'm going to call him tomorrow. He wants to drive down from Binghamton to see me. He's the new guitarist for Granulated Sugar, and I'm hoping to catch them at a Battle of the Bands at Montrose High School, January 15th. He and I have so much in common. Our favorite composer of all time is Mozart, and we both watched the biography of Irving Berlin. How weird is that? I downloaded AOL Instant Messenger, and I'm growing a pretty large buddy list. I'm not friends with Erin anymore. She's been such a bitch lately. Tammy Whitmore and I have become better friends, though. Now, only 15 minutes left before the new millennium. I better go downstairs. But before I do, I want to tell you what Steve Shell got me for Christmas. A potato. I named it Pablo Potato, the potato. I surprised him with 2 lemons. Well, thanks for listening. I'll try to write more. Happy Millennium. Wow. So much has changed since 1999. For example, I no longer have that potato Steve Shell got me for Christmas. I think Steve lives in Alaska now. At least, that was the last I heard. There were a lot of Steves in that diary entry. I hope I didn't confuse you too badly. In fact, I hope I bored the hell out of you. I hope your eyelids are starting to feel like lead. I hope your body feels weightless against your bed, and you're feeling light, like a hot air balloon taking off to float thousands of miles away into dreamland. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to float through a rainbow? Do you think it would smell like Skittles? Or maybe a bowl of Fruit Loops? Perhaps it would smell like everything and nothing at all. What if, instead of hot air, our balloon was carried by pigeons, or fueled by the quiet flapping of owl wings? The sky has that just before rain smell to it. If we stay real quiet, I wonder if we could hear the chirping of crickets. Have you ever been up this high outside of an airplane? The last time I was on an airplane, I sat behind 9 nuns and next to a lady named Maria who was traveling to visit her grandchildren in San Diego. Have you ever been to San Diego? No? Well, don't feel bad. I've never been to Spain, but I kinda like the music. Say, the ladies are insane there, and they sure know how to use it. They don't abuse it. Never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. Just kidding. Those are lyrics from a 1972 Three Dog Night ditty written by Hoyt Axton. Are you thirsty? I happen to have a bottle of champagne. Here, I'll pour you a glass. You know, the custom of drinking champagne in a hot air balloon dates way back to the inception of the magical flying invention. You see, farmers didn't take too kindly to hot air balloons landing on their farms because they looked an awful lot like dragons falling from the sky. Can you imagine how frightening that must have been? The brothers Montgolfier would smooth things over by gifting bottles of champagne in hopes they may continue testing out their flying inventions. Isn't that interesting? How air balloons were among the first to bring us to the heavens. Did you know, according to European law, sparkling wine can bear the label of champagne only if it was bottled within 100 miles of the Champagne region of France. Otherwise, sparkling wine is called cremant. It's true. Hey, look over there, over the edge of the basket. Do you see that? There's no white noise here, and you can see fireflies lighting the meadow below. They're as bright as stadium lights. Oh, and there's a cabin with one light on. That must be the one I reserved on Airbnb. It has a 5-star rating. Care to check it out? Okay. Hold tight. We're about to descend. Good evening. Welcome to your dream. No, I wasn't waiting long at all. But you just missed the sun setting between those mountains over yonder. Would you like some champagne? Sunsets here are more brilliant than on Earth. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry, no. I'm afraid you're not in Kansas anymore. How long were you on that hot air balloon after all? I don't know how to pronounce the name of this place in English or any other earthling language for that matter. I'd say you're currently 3 trillion light years from Earth. But no need to worry. I promise you'll be back home by sunrise. Oh yeah, I like this place a lot. I try to get out here a couple times a year. The people are friendly, and there aren't any mosquitoes. Don't you just love civil twilight? You know, just after the sun goes down, but there's still enough light to see. We should get a fire going before it gets too dark. Would you please hand me those logs over there? Cool. Thanks. Have you noticed the absence of temperature? Back home, we would be starting this fire to stay warm. On this planet, we're only using it for light. You know what my favorite part of campfires are? S'mores. Have you ever had a s'more? It's real simple. Here, grab a stick. Now put this marshmallow on the end and hold it up to the fire gently. Not too close. Right. Exactly. See? You're a natural. Don't forget to turn it every so often until you achieve that toasty brown hue. I'll get the graham crackers and chocolate ready. Hey, did you know graham crackers were invented in the early 1800s by Sylvester Graham? He was a Presbyterian minister who hoped his new snack would combat the evils of coffee, alcohol, and other carnal desires. It's true. Uh-oh. Looks like your marshmallow caught on fire. That's okay. Blow on it. Okay. Now put it here on top of the chocolate. See? Now you smush the chocolate and marshmallow between the graham crackers. And voila! You made a s'more. Want to see a neat trick? Okay. Close your eyes. Now imagine water No, wait. Maybe a stream. Really concentrate. Maybe picture a babbling brook. Hear that? Isn't that cool? This planet is so strange and magnificent. Oh, I forgot to mention, we don't have internet or cell phones here. There just aren't any towers. It's mostly wilderness. That's what makes this such a great getaway. I usually spend my time here journaling or reading paperback novels in a hammock. You know what smell I miss most from back home? The smell of libraries with their number 2 Ticonderoga pencil shavings and old books. Old books. Paper is such a delicious scent. That smell always reminds me of summer. Summer reading was always encouraged between grades back when I was in school. I didn't care for reading much at first, but then I discovered Stephen King. I just find his work so imaginative. Also, I'm a sucker for a good ghost story. I think I have what's known as benign masochism. It's quite common, you know. What is benign masochism? It's when you enjoy the thrill of something dangerous without the harmful repercussions. Examples include eating spicy foods or roller coaster rides. Yep, right. Or ghost stories. Hey, you're awfully quiet. What are you thinking? Ah, yes. I agree. Ernest Hemingway is one of the greatest poets of all time. Once upon a time, I was able to recite some of his work. Let me see if I can remember any Hemingway poems. This is Along with Youth. A porcupine skin, stiff with bad tanning. It must have ended somewhere. Stuffed horned owl, pompous yellow-eyed. Chuck Will's window on a biased twig, suited with dust. Piles of old magazines, drawers of boy letters, and the line of love they must have ended somewhere. Yesterday's Tribune is gone, along with youth, and the canoe that went to pieces on the beach the year of the big storm, when the hotel burned down at Seney, Michigan. This one is called Chapter Heading. For we have thought the longer thoughts, and gone the shorter way. We have danced to devil's tunes, shivering home to pray, to serve one master in the night, another in the day. What do you think? Thank you. I enjoyed them too. I can't believe I remembered them after all these years. Hey, have you ever heard of the girl who owned the bear? It's an American fairy tale by L. Frank Baum. I happen to have a copy of it right here. I keep fairy tales on hand in case I have a hard time sleeping. Would you like me to read it to you? Okay, get real comfy. Are you ready? The Girl Who Owned a Bear. Mama had gone downtown to shop. She asked Nora to look after Jane Gladys, and Nora promised she would. But it was her afternoon for polishing the silver, so she stayed in the pantry and left Jane Gladys to amuse herself alone in the big sitting room upstairs. The little girl did not mind being alone, for she was working on her first piece of embroidery, a sofa pillow for Papa's birthday present. So she crept into the big bay window and curled herself up on the board sill while she bent her brown head over her work. Soon, the door opened and closed again, quietly. Jane Gladys thought it was Nora, so she didn't look up until she had taken a couple more stitches on a forget-me-not. Then she raised her eyes and was astonished to find a strange man in the middle of the room who regarded her earnestly. He was short and fat, and seemed to be breathing heavily from his climb up the stairs. He held a work silk hat in one hand, and underneath his other elbow was tucked a good-sized book. He was dressed in a black suit that looked old and rather shabby, and his head was bald upon the top. "Excuse me," he said, while the child gazed at him in solemn surprise. "Are you Jane Gladys Brown?" "Yes, sir," she answered. "Very good. Very good indeed," he remarked with a queer sort of smile. "I've had quite a hunt to find you, but I've succeeded at last." "How did you get in?" inquired Jane Gladys, with a growing distrust of her visitor. "That is a secret," he said mysteriously. This was enough to put the girl on her guard. She looked at the man, and the man looked at her, and both looks were grave and somewhat anxious. "What do you want?" she asked, straightening herself up with a dignified air. "Ah, now we are coming to business," said the man briskly. "I'm going to be quite frank with you. To begin with, your father has abused me in the most ungentlemanly manner." Jane Gladys got off the windowsill and pointed her small finger at the door. "Leave this room immediately," she cried, her voice trembling with indignation. "My papa is the best man in the world. He never abused anybody." "Allow me to explain, please," said the visitor, without paying any attention to her request to go away. "Your father may be very kind to you, for you are his little girl, you know. But when he's downtown in his office, he's inclined to be rather severe, especially on book agents. Now, I called on him the other day and asked him to buy the complete works of Peter Smith. And what do you suppose he did?" She said nothing. "Why?" continued the man with growing excitement. "He ordered me from his office and had me put outside of the building by the janitor. What do you think of such a treatment as that from the best papa in the world, eh?" "I think he was quite right," said Jane Gladys. "Oh, do you? Well," said the man, "I resolved to be revenged for the insult. So as your father is big and strong and a dangerous man, I had decided to be revenged upon by his little girl. Jane Gladys shivered. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "I'm going to present you with this book," he answered, taking it from under his arm. Then he sat down on the edge of a chair, placed his hat on the rug, and drew a fountain pen from his vest pocket. "I'll write your name in it," he said. "How do you spell Gladys?" Gladys, she replied. "Thank you. Now this," he continued, rising and handing her the book with a bow, "is my revenge for your father's treatment of me. Perhaps you'll be sorry he didn't buy the complete works of Peter Smith. Goodbye, my dear." He walked to the door, gave her another bow, and left the room, and Jane Gladys could see that he was laughing to himself, as if very much amused. When the door had closed behind the queer little man, the child sat down in the window again and glanced at the book. It had a red and yellow cover, and the word thingamajigs was across the front in big letters. Then she opened it curiously and saw her name written in black letters upon the first white leaf. He was a funny little man, she said to herself thoughtfully. She turned to the next leaf and saw a big picture of a clown dressed in green and red and yellow, and having a very white face with 3 cornered spots of red on each cheek and over the eyes. While she looked at this, the book trembled in her hands. The leaf crackled and creaked, and suddenly the clown jumped out of it and stood upon the floor beside her, becoming instantly as big as any ordinary clown. After stretching his arms and legs and yawning in a rather impolite manner, he gave a silly chuckle and said, "This is better. You don't know how cramped one gets standing so long upon a page of flat paper. Perhaps you can imagine how startled Jane Gladys was, and how she stared at the clown who had just leaped out of the book. "You didn't expect anything of this sort, did you?" he asked, glaring at her in clown fashion. Then he turned around to take a look at the room, and Jane Gladys laughed in spite of her astonishment. "What amuses you?" demanded the clown. "Why, the back of you is all white," cried the girl. "You're only a clown in front of you." "Quite likely," he returned in an annoyed tone. The artist made a front view of me. He wasn't expected to make the back of me, for that was against the page of the book. "But it makes you look so funny," said Jane Gladys, laughing until her eyes were moist with tears. The clown looked sulky and sat down upon a chair so she couldn't see his back. "I'm not the only thing in the book," he remarked crossly. This reminded her to turn another page, and she had scarcely noted that it contained the picture of a monkey when the animal sprang from the book with a great crumpling of paper and landed upon the window seat beside her. He, chattered the creature, springing to the girl's shoulder and then to the center of the table. "This is great fun. Now I can be a real monkey instead of a picture of one." "Real monkeys can't talk," said Jane Gladys reprovingly. "How do you know? Have you ever been one yourself?" inquired the animal. And then he laughed loudly, and the clown laughed too, as if he enjoyed the remark. The girl was quiet, bewildered by this time. She thoughtlessly turned another leaf, and before she had time to look twice, a great donkey leaped from the book and stumbled from the window seat to the floor with a great clatter. "You're clumsy enough, I'm sure," said the child indignantly, for the beast had nearly upset her. "Clumsy? And why not?" demanded the donkey with angry tone. "If the fool artist had drawn you out of perspective, as he did me, I guess you'd be clumsy yourself." "What's wrong with you?" asked Jane Gladys. "My front and rear legs on the side left are nearly 6 inches too short. That's what's the matter. If the artist didn't know how to draw properly, why did he try to make a donkey at all?" "I don't know," she replied. "I can hardly stand up," grumbled the donkey, "and the least little thing will topple me over." "Don't mind that," said the monkey, making a spring at the chandelier and swinging from it by his tail until Jane Gladys feared he would knock all the globes off. The same artist has made my ears as big as the clown's, and everyone knows a monkey hasn't any ears to speak of, much less to draw. He should be prosecuted, remarked the clown gloomily. I haven't any back. Jane Gladys looked from one to the other with a puzzled expression upon her sweet face and turned another page of the book. Swift, with a flash, there sprang over her shoulder a tawny, spotted leopard, which landed upon the back of a leather armchair and turned upon the others with a fierce movement. The monkey climbed to the top of the chandelier and chattered with fright. The donkey tried to run and straightway tipped over on his left side. The clown grew paler than ever, but he sat still in his chair and gave a low whistle of surprise. The leopard crouched upon the back of the chair, lashed his tail from side to side, and glared at all of them by turns, including Jane Gladys. Which of us are you going to attack first? Asked the monkey, trying hard to get upon his feet again. I can't attack any of you, snarled the leopard. The artist made my mouth shut, so I haven't any teeth, and he forgot to make my claws. But I'm a frightful looking creature, nevertheless, am I? Oh, yes, said the clown indifferently. I suppose you're frightful looking enough. But if you have no teeth nor claws, we don't mind your looks at all. This so annoyed the leopard that he growled horribly, and the monkey laughed at him. Just then, the book slipped from the girl's lap, and she made a movement to catch it. One of the pages near the back opened wide. She caught a glimpse of a fierce grizzly bear looking at her from the page, and quickly threw the book from her. It fell with a crash in the middle of the room, but beside it stood a great grizzly who had wrenched himself from the page before the book closed. Now, cried the leopard from his perch, you'd better look out for yourself. You can't laugh at him as you did me. The bear has both claws and teeth. Indeed, I have, said the bear in a low, deep growl. And I know how to use them too. If you read in that book, you'll find I'm described as a horrible, cruel, and remorseless grizzly bear whose only business in life is to eat up little girls' shoes, dresses, ribbons, and all. And then the author said, I smack my lips and glory in my wickedness. That's awful, said the donkey, sitting upon his haunches and shaking his head sadly. What do you suppose possessed the author to make you so hungry for girls? Do you eat animals also? The author does not mention my eating anything but little girls, replied the bear. Very good, remarked the clown, drawing a long breath of relief. You may begin eating Jane Gladys as soon as you wish. She laughed because I had no back, and she laughed because my legs are out of perspective, brayed the donkey. But you also deserve to be eaten, screamed the leopard from the back of the leather chair. You laughed and poked fun at me because I had no claws nor teeth. Don't you suppose, Mr. Grizzly, you can manage to eat a clown, a donkey, and a monkey after you finish the girl? Perhaps so, and a leopard into a bargain, growled the bear. It will depend on how hungry I am, but I must begin on the little girl first, because the author said I prefer girls to anything. Jane Gladys was much frightened on hearing this conversation. She began to realize what the man meant when he said he gave her the book to be revenged. Surely, Papa would be sorry he hadn't bought the complete works of Peter Smith when he came home and found his little girl eaten up by a grizzly bear. Dress, shoes, ribbon, and all. The bear stood up and balanced himself on his rear legs. This is the way I look in the book, he said. Now watch me eat the little girl. He advanced slowly toward Jane Gladys, and the monkey, the leopard, the donkey, and the clown all stood around in a circle and watched the bear with much interest. But before the grizzly reached her, the child had suddenly thought and cried out, "Stop, you mustn't eat me. It would be wrong." "Why?" asked the bear in surprise. "Because I own you. You're my private property," she answered. "I don't see how you make that out," said the bear in a disappointed tone. "Why, the book was given to me. My name's on the front leaf, and you belong to me by rights of the book, so you mustn't dare to eat your owner." The grizzly hesitated. "Can any of you read?" he asked. "I can," said the clown. "Then see if she speaks the truth. Is her name really in the book? The clown picked it up and looked at the name. It is, he said, Jane Gladys Brown, and written quite plainly in big letters. The bear sighed. Then, of course, I can't eat her, he decided. The author is as disappointing as most authors are. But he's not as bad as the artist, exclaimed the donkey, who was still trying to straighten up. The fault lies within yourselves, said Jane Gladys severely. Why didn't you stay in the book where you were put? The animals looked at each other in a foolish way, and the clown blushed under his white paint. Really? Began the bear, and he stopped short. The doorbell rang loudly. That's Mama, cried Jane Gladys, springing to her feet. She's come home at last. Now, you stupid creatures. But she was interrupted by them all making a rush for the book. There was a wish and a whirl and a rustling of leaves, and an instant later the book lay upon the floor, looking just like any other book, while Jane Gladys's strange companions had all disappeared. The end. What do you think the moral of the story is? Perhaps it teaches us to think quickly and clearly upon all occasions, for Jane Gladys had not remembered she owned the bear. He probably would have eaten her before the bell rang. You seem to be nodding off. I think you're ready for bed. Come inside the cabin with me, and I'll tuck you in. Here. This bed looks really comfy. I'll bring you a glass of water. Get plenty of sleep, because tomorrow you'll be home like I promised. No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit right here and read for just a little while longer. It's okay to go to bed. I know you're very tired, and sleep is very good for you, very good for your mind, very good for your body. Before I go, there are a few people I would like to thank. They have helped make this show possible. In order of appearance, I would like to thank Kevin Watkins, who played the voice of Raoul, and the guy offering me the job. Kevin deserves his own radio show. He's incredibly talented and is capable of so much. Kevin, from the 3rd grade, was played by Kevin Tuttle, who lives in Colorado and loves to hike. He hikes every day. The voices of Klaus, The Wrong Number, and Morgan Freeman belongs to an active friend of mine who refuses credit but deserves plenty of it. I thought his characters and delivery was brilliant. I'd also like to thank my friend Alan, who cleverly asked me out for margaritas in his voice message. He's always asking me to Mexican. I'd also like to thank Joanna, the voice of Jody. I love her. She's a brilliant woman, very sweet and thoughtful. She sent me a postcard from Grandfather Mountain, and she even remembered my birthday. She's very lovely. Next, I would like to thank my writer, gamer friend, Christopher Vera, who I've read poetry for in the past. He's a very talented writer, and he's pretty quick-witted. Next, I'd like to thank my friend Dory, who played the role of Belle. Dory is a talented musician who lives in Houston, Texas. Not really. He lives outside of Houston. But Texas is so big, it doesn't matter. Trevor from driving school was played by my friend Derek. Derek is one of my best friends. Thank you to Sarah Jones for sharing with me all about the bear she saw on her trip. and to Joe, the juggler, DiNoto, for telling me all about the stars. Okay, get some rest. Sweet dreams.